As an introduction to this, I'm first going to describe what I call the invisible prison.
This is the closed intellectual feedback system, if you will, that consistently slows or even stops new socially altering concepts from coming to fruition. Stops progress. Let me explain. The social order as we know it is created out of ideas, either directly or as a systemic consequence.
In other words, somebody somewhere did something which generated a group interest.
Which then led to the implementation of a specific social component, either in a physical form, philosophical form, or both.
Once a given set of ideas are entrusted by a large enough group of people,
it becomes an institution.
And once that institution is made dominant in some way,
while existing for a certain period of time, that institution can then be considered an establishment. Institutional establishments are simply social traditions given the illusion of permanence.
In turn,
the more established they become, the more cultural influence they tend to have on us, including our values and hence our identities and perspectives.
It is not an exaggeration to say that the established institutions governing a person's environment
is no less than a conditioning platform to program, if you will, that person with a specific set of values required to maintain the establishment.
Hence, we're going to call these established value programs. I have found the analogy of computer programming to be a great way to frame this point. While there is always a debate about genetics,
and environmental influence, which, by the way, as I mentioned, Roxanne Meadows will go into at length later in the program, it's very easy to understand in the context of values, meaning what you think is important and not important,
that information influences or conditioning is coming from the world around you. Make no mistake, every intellectual concept which each one of us finds merit with
is the result of a cultural information influence, one way or another.
The environment is a self-perpetuating programming process, and just like designing a software program for your computer,
each human being is advertently and inadvertently programmed into their worldview. To continue the analogy, the human brain is a piece of hardware, and the environment around you constitutes the programming team which creates the values and perspective.
Every word you know has been taught to you one way or another, and thus every concept and belief you have is a result of this same influence. Jacques Fresco once asked me,
"How much of you is you?" The answer, of course, is kind of a paradox.
For either nothing is me or everything is me.
When it comes to the information I understand and act upon. Information is a serial process, meaning the only way that a human being can come up with any idea is through taking in dependent information that allows that idea to be realized. We appear to be culturally programmed from the moment we come into this world to the moment we die, and I'm not going to drill it in much more than that.
However, consequently,
the cultural attributes we maintain as important values are most often the ones that are reinforced by the external culture. I'm going to say that again. The most dominant cultural attributes maintained are the ones that are reinforced by your environment. If you are born into a society which rewards competition over collaboration, then you most likely will adopt those values in order to survive. The point is, we are essentially biochemical machines. And while the integrity of our machine processing power and memory is contingent in part on genetics, the source of our actions come fundamentally from the ideas and experiences installed on our mental hardware by the world around us.